Yo. Hi guys, so welcome to the third episode, right? Third episode.
Yes, third episode.
Where your mind day?
My mind day. Let's go.
You think about your girls.
No,
the third episode. The third episode of the Black Lip Bastards podcast. I'm your gracious and humble host, Kweku Finesse. I'm here with
Kwame Derek.
The reason why I was asking about the number of the episode, we've been having some issues with our schedule in terms of our release date. We've been sitting on our episodes for a while now. We normally like to talk about trendy topics, but at the same time, we also talk about things that we've always been bothered about. So some of our episodes release date matters to us because some of them are on trend. They are things that are going on at a particular moment. So we always like to be on time. But at the same time too, it was our first time. I wanted to find our flow.
We wanted to find our flow. We saw that in the first couple of episodes, we realized that even though we knew what we were talking about, our flow was not that great. So we had to polish. We have to polish our flow. Now I think we know where we are going. We know what we are doing. Yeah. And because of that, we are ready to release what we have so far.
Amazingly, I played some of the I haven't told you this. I played some of the episodes to a podcaster, a Ghanaian podcaster. We're in the same class together back on campus. He didn't notice that we're amateurs.
Wow.
Yeah. He said that our delivery was nice. I told him that was our first ever episode.
Charlie.
That was the first time I'd ever stepped in front of a mic to present or host or anything of that nature.
Yes.
I've never led anything in
any radio show
on any radio
podcast, nothing.
So he was like, Charlie, are you sure you guys are doing it? Are you doing this for the first time?
Yes.
I think one of the things that helped us is the ability to. I mean, we've been listening to podcasts for a while now.
Yes.
Listening
we've been brainstorming for a while.
Exactly, it's something.
We've been learning from other people.
Yeah, you know that feeling where you do something and you feel like this is what I was supposed to be doing.
Yes.
Because we've always enjoyed listening to podcasts, and we also have those conversations on our own.
Yes.
When we used to meet back on campus.
We used to argue about issues.
Our
views are crazy, radical issues. We just give our views on it, and then we realize actually we are intelligent enough to do this.
So it's like
we've got all it takes to.
So it's something that we've always been brooding on. But to a time that we just decided that Charlie, we have to start this. But I think I've also learned in the preliminary period that it's also good to sit on things.
Yes.
Yeah, because we found our footing whilst resting on the episodes. We've been able to discover how to go about it. We are still learning on the job. Yeah. As you can see, we are still fumbling here and there, but I mean we are not that bad.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think it's good that we started because this thing has been in our mind since around level 300.
For sure.
And we've decided we had already talked about it, but because of school schedule and then exams and all those things, we always had to put aside and do other things.
For sure.
But when this COVID thing came about and we were in the house and Charlie, just one call. He called me one time and then he was talking to me about a movie that I've always watched before. Yeah. And when we were talking about this same movie, we realized that the things we were talking about the movie, we love the movie so much. And we're actually dissecting the movie, going into the psychosis of the whole movie. I don't know if I'm right. Yeah. And then we realized actually this thing before put it on record, we can do something about it, and we can. And movies are not the only things that we actually talk about, but that was what started this whole thing: movie arguments, views about the world, political stances, and all those things.
Exactly.
It's how this whole thing began, and finally we were able to record our first couple of episodes.
I think we are sorry. Are you done? So I think one of the issues we had was that were we going to just talk about movies, or we won't limit ourselves, because Derek is one of the most learned people I know in terms of anything pop culture, movies, entertainment. At the same time, he knows about politics, he knows about trendy issues. So, and I also the same. You understand? We brooded upon it for a while because we wanted to. I mean, we basically are movie lovers.
Yes.
But when you catch us on a Monday evening or like any day at any point in time, we might be talking about movies.
Yes.
So we wanted to, when we're starting, we're like, what will people care about? What do people care about movies enough to, give us a listen? But one thing we realized was that we also don't have to limit ourselves. We didn't want to be in a box.
And also we realized that most of our conversations are diverse enough for us to go into everything that we can.
Yeah.
And sometimes movies are actually like portals that lead us into other conversations.
Exactly.
We see some issue in a movie and we talk about that issue, and then
it leads us into other
conversations about our real world.
Exactly.
So it's like analogies in our real world. Movies just lead us into these things that we really want to talk about.
Exactly.
So maybe we're talking about this scene in Rick and Morty, this scene in Fargo, and then perhaps we're talking about that scene, we can relate it to something that's actually really happening, and then the conversation actually change into the political area, or into the pop culture arena, or into the civil rights, human rights, racism, whatever. But our conversations and our topics are mostly rooted in our movie background, how much we love movies and pop culture.
Exactly.
But most of the things we just talk about anything that we want to talk, like a conversation. Two boys having a conversation. Two black lips bastards having a conversation.
Our name, is it controversial?
The thing is,
people don't get it.
I think people take it. I think to take time for people to get it, because black lip bastards.
We don't even get it ourselves.
Yeah,
it just sounded cool. But what? Let's use this opportunity to talk about it.
Okay.
We didn't plan on starting here, but we are there anyway.
Okay. When I hear
what emotions does it evoke in you?
Okay. When I first time you talk about that and I saw the name Black Lives Bastard, what came to my mind are two people, quote unquote bastards, who are talking about things that matter to them in their own way, without conforming to what other people are saying, or conforming to what is there already. So I saw it as two black boys in Africa talking about world issues, talking about movies, talking about pop culture, talking about politics, talking about everything from the lens from their perspective of an African child who grew up in Africa, in Ghana, and who is looking at the world from Africa, looking at the world through the African lens. But we are radical enough in our own way. We talk about things our own way. We don't conform because somebody is saying A and it's trending. That's what we are going to say. No. We are just saying what we want to say. We are not. This is not the place This is not the place where we're going to say that. Oh, let's censor some of the things. No. We are not here to censor anything. We are here to say our minds. And whatever the outcome, we are ready to bear the consequences. And so that's what comes to our mind. Two boys without any filter,
no filter at all,
talking about whatever they want to talk about. So black lip bastards. Our lips are really black. We know we are talking about. It's dark. We are talking about dark stuff. We'll talk about them. That's the emotions, and that's the emotions the name evokes in me. That's what I see.
For me, I think I want to go into the symbolism.
Okay.
So when you speak of black or Africanness, it just speaks of a race that has the melanin, right?
Yes.
And then a race that has been, characterized by struggles. Characterized by happiness. Characterized by joy. Characterized by everything that anyone goes through this.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And we are going through ours, whether positive or negative. So first and foremost, our Africanness, we can never put it aside. We'll always be African. Whether you like it or not, if you are born black, you're an African.
Yes.
You understand? You can't leave it anywhere. And how the society or how the world views you, you can't leave it anywhere. Even if you speak with the UK, you speak with the UK accent, you speak with the American accent, or you speak with the Ghanaian accent as we are speaking with, you still be considered African. You understand? Yes. So first and foremost, it symbolizes, the toll of our fathers, the toll of the people that came before us, the struggles they've been through, and the struggles we are also going through, and how we want to, see the race evolve into the greatness it will be, and the greatest that it has been in the past. The lip signifies the voice.
Yeah.
It signifies the mouthpiece. It signifies the volume. It signifies the emotions, the heartbeats, the heartthrob of the African.
Yeah.
You understand? We want to represent not just the mainstream media. We don't even want to represent the mainstream. We want to represent the voice of the typical Ghana boy with the cross the streets.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
We want to represent the voice of the typical African girl where they go school.
Yes.
You understand? We want to talk about things that are going on right here.
Yeah.
You understand? And how we also view other things. So it's not just centered on Africanity, it's centered on humanity. You understand? But it's through our lens. And I think bastards are just what we are.
Yeah.
When we remove
we laugh about it. Yeah, you bastard. It's just that is where we think we are. We're not bastards as we don't have fathers.
Exactly.
But we are we are bastards as we call each other that.
Yeah.
So it's not.
The insult of being a bastard, the comedy that it evokes,
yes,
right?
That's
so
what
being a bastard.
Yeah.
So when you put all of that together, it just symbolizes like the voice of the typical African, like speaking from our perspective.
Yes.
You understand? Speaking from how we view the world. You understand? Sometimes it might be biased, sometimes it might not, but it's just our opinions.
Yeah.
One thing I always say is that at the end of the day, everyone is entitled to what he wants to feel. You understand? This is how we feel.
Yes.
And
we agree to disagree.
You understand? And the fact that we might share a sentiment on an issue doesn't mean that is our sentiment forever. We are still learning, we are still going. There are things we need to talk about outside the podcast. And sometimes we even have some of these arguments or conversations before the podcast, just to make sure we are in the clear when it comes to the opinions we want to share with the world.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this thing is going outside and people will hear it all over. And if we claim to be, the voices of the streets, you understand, not just the cliche of saying that, but the real voice of the typical African boy in Ghana or in Nigeria or in Africa, if we claim to be that, we have to make sure we are representing what they will be saying on the streets. You understand? So always make sure, the facts are gotten right. If we are not sure about it, I'll put a disclaimer before any opinion I share that I'm not so strong on this opinion. This is how I feel at the moment. If I'm educated otherwise after the argument, I'll come in and accept that what I said the last time was wrong. And I think that's the beauty of humanity, the ability of humans to evolve.
And that's actually the beauty of what you are doing. We just want to say what we feel, what we are thinking, and then if you disagree with us, you can point it out. We will listen. We can grow from there. We can also point things out to you for you to also listen, also grow from there. So that's the beauty of what you are doing. That people can disagree on a particular matter, but still have a conversation. Because even siblings in a house, even though they all love each other, they always, even twins have different opinions. They always have different opinions. Even in political parties, even political spheres, every political party, even within the political party, people have different views.
And ideologies.
So that's the beauty of what we are doing. We are just saying what we think. Yeah. Sometimes the two of us will agree, sometimes we will not agree. Yeah. And most of the time we don't agree. But at the end of the day, we understand where we're each coming from. And if you want to grow, we just accept it and then we grow. Exactly. That is the beauty of what we are doing.
I want to start on I think we should just delve right into it. We've been doing the intro for like 10 minutes now.
Okay.
I want us to delve into the Congo issue.
The Congo issue.
I think one of the things that popped up today is 17th October. To make that clear, we might release it 3 days after. Yeah. But we are in Saturdays, the 17th of October, 2020, and then a lot has been unraveled. I think we'll speak on other issues, but I want to start with the Congo. A lot of us were oblivion, whether by choice or not by choice. Most of us were oblivion to the Congo issue. I understand. I think one of the things that unraveled this week is how ignorant we all are.
Yeah.
You understand? Because this thing is going on
for decades.
Decades.
And we don't know anything about it.
Yes, and we don't know anything. We claim to be Africans. We claim to be one of the most united people in any part of the world, and we don't know some of these small. I mean, it's not a trifle issue, but some of these things are going on in our neighboring countries. We don't even know what's going on. You understand? And it's very disastrous. So what's your takeaway? What's your takeaway on the issue?
Concerning what's happening in Congo, it reminds me of what we talked about in our first episode concerning the obsession of the West or of Asian countries like China. Their obsession with African countries or what they want from Africa. We know that in the past there was the colonizers. We know the past they came here, they took whatever they wanted. But right now, almost every country in Africa is ruling themselves. So why is there something like a genocide? That's what they are calling it in Congo. And this genocide is happening because of the natural resources like coltan and cobalt and gold and diamond that is found in those areas. And what is happening in Congo is funny because it's like there are people, I don't know who they are, people are saying that some people fund terrorists, fund crime lords and rebels in those areas to fight and then to fight or cause a ruckus in their society or in their countries. And while these fights are going on, because the government will not sit down, the government will also fight back. And while this fight is going on, then they will, in the guise of these fights, they will use that as an opportunity to exploit the people and take so that they won't pay anything to the state. When the state is fighting, when the state is in a civil war, okay, or when the state is not being ruled well, okay, people can come in, foreigners come in, and then they exploit people because the government don't even have time to see what's really happening. They exploit children. I saw videos of children in mining areas, mining the cobalt. And the funny thing is about this cobalt and the coltan thing is that they form essential parts of batteries and tech parts. So if you have a phone, you have a laptop, if you have a computer, most definitely there might be a cobalt or a coltan in your laptop. And so this pushes my perspective a lot.
Yes.
We're all this whole issue started coming at least last 2 weeks. And it's like till now. Within these 3 weeks, Apple has released their new flagship phones. The Apple 12. And then other phone makers who have released theirs. And come and see Twitter. We're clamoring ourselves. We're talking about it, having conversations. Are you going to buy the new iPhone? What are people going to do to get the new iPhone? The new iPhone has that. The new iPhone has this. But nobody was talking about the fact that this iPhone that people are killing themselves for, this iPhone that people are going to buy at very high prices, okay? People are being exploited in Africa, in Congo, just to get the metals that will be used to make these phones.
It's so sad, bro.
So my problem is this. They say that our generation we can do revolutions. You've seen it in BLM, Black Lives Matter. You've seen it in Nigeria, the SARS. We'll come back to that one later. We see that in our generation we can do protests and we can do all these things. We can do protests online. We can do protests on the street. We've seen it this year. 2020 has shown us that our generation can do whatever we want to do if we want to. But my question is, can we protest against these big companies like Tesla, like Apple, like Samsung, like Huawei, who uses these metals mined by exploited boys and girls to make their products and come and sell it to us? That's my question. Are we ready to push against these big techs? Are we ready to push against them? If you're ready to push against them, then that's when I think we are ready to talk about what's really happening. Because the fact that you are sharing videos of people being exploited, talking about hashtag Congo is bleeding, whatever, and you're not talking about these, you're not speaking against these big companies who are actually benefiting and profiting from these exploitations in Congo and in other parts of Africa or in other parts of the world. If you're not talking about this, if you're not pushing against these tech companies, nothing will change.
The sad part of it is also rooted in the history of where Congo came from.
Yeah.
So
Leopard.
it's so sad that today the structure of the ruling in Congo mirrors the same thing that was existing hundreds of years ago
Tell me more.
when they were a Belgian colony.
Yeah.
It was purported that during the time they were being ruled over by the Belgium.
Yeah.
I understand. It was King Leopold that was the king at the time.
Yes.
It's reported that he made over $1 billion from Congo. In some $1 billion
in
today,
that time.
in that time.
Wow.
If all the wealth he made from Congo is quantified, it's like over $1 billion today. And at the time, he was taking them for slavery, enslaving them. He was mining all the minerals. Congo, very rich country.
Yeah.
Has almost all the precious minerals in the world are found.
They also have
rubber
and all those things.
Wild rubber. At the time, wild rubber was their main source of main economic power.
Yeah.
So King Leopold rid them of all of them, made millions from them. Came down to the time they started fighting for independence. And one of the amazing things is that Patrice Lumumba, one of the founders of independent thoughts on the continent, is from Congo.
Wow.
Helped them to secure their independence. This is way beyond King Leopold's reign. And then helped them to find their independence at 1960. He was sworn in as the prime minister in June 1960. He was dethroned by the president at the time. From being the prime minister, he was dethroned from being a prime minister in September 1960.
Wow.
So he was a prime minister for no more than 5 months. He was assassinated the next year. Dictatorship became the thing.
Hey, Charlie.
Dictatorship. Mobutu Sese Seko came to rule for a number of years. Overthrown. Another person came. I think one of the pivotal moments in the Congo dynamic now was after the genocide in Rwanda, when the Hutus went against the Tutsis, went against the Hutus. At the time, the Hutus were, controlling the Tutsis. It was a tribal, it started as any normal tribal war. And then the Hutus were always going against the Tutsis. They were killing them here and there. And the Tutsis led the rebellion to overthrow the Hutus from power. The Hutus were forced to move into Congo because Congo is one of the neighboring countries from Rwanda.
Wow.
So they were forced to go there as refugees. When they went there, the Tutsis led rebellion that came into power. The Tutsis-led rebellion that came into power wanted to uproot the Hutus from existence, so they went into Congo. And I think when you read into the issues, this very small research that I made just to understand the background of the issue, so I might be fumbling. It's because we just had to scrap. It's always better to know how things started.
Yeah.
I think one of the main causatives were the fact that UN and US stood by and they allowed the Tutsi-led rebellion to go into Congo and kill all the Hutu refugees, including their militia, including their vulnerable people like pregnant women, children, and all that, old people that were Hutus.
Yeah.
And when they went there, they realized that they could also take advantage of the Congo resources. So they will help themselves as usual with the support of US and UN. Someone might say that US and UN did not support necessarily, but there are evidence to show that. There was one reporter, one of the researchers I made, one reporter that said at the time he was in Congo at the time. He was in Rwanda at the time, right after the genocide in 1992. Took several hundreds of thousands, the lives of several hundreds of thousands at a very small time. And then he saw that the US were shipping in arms.
Wow.
To the Rwandan army for them to invade the Congo. Because of what? Because they would go into Congo, get the natural resources, and then ship it back to them. And I think this is some of the things we're talking about the first episode.
Yes.
Whereby the same thing that's happening that's happening with Congo that we are citing, the same thing that China is doing to Africa, and that has also been done to China. And I think that was one of the things we hammered, that they come in here, they take our resources. We see influx of the Chinese miners, Chinese small-scale miners, practicing illegal mining activities at these mining areas, taking all the minerals they could grab onto, and shipping it back to China, making jewelries and sending it back to Africa for expensive prices. And that's the same thing that has been happening in Congo. When the US saw an opportunity in the Rwandan militia to be able to loot the resources for them, they helped them by sending them guns, sending them, and all these are on the internet, you can research for yourself, sending them militia, sending them guns to, invade Congo. Congo, a country that has always had an unstable political culture, has always had an unstable institution of not being able to take care of themselves. Obviously, they will be manipulated and they will be overpowered by a fresh Rwandan Tutsi-led rebellion army that had recently overpowered over the Hutus. So, some of these things have been cited as the main example. The UN at the time were known to have, or they were known to be in this phenomenon called the genocide guilt, whereby during the genocide in Rwanda, they weren't helping and they weren't giving helping hand to the Tutsi to allow them to overpower the Hutus. So at the time there was this guilt that were on UN and the US that they didn't help to stop the genocide. So when the new Rwandan government decided to invade Congo, all they had to do was just to allow them. They didn't intervene. And these things are being cited to be some of the sources of the Congo conflict now. So they went there, caused mass destruction of lives, caused mass destruction of the society there. They raped the woman. One thing that was being highlighted was the issue of systematic rape. That was the first time I had heard about it, and it makes sense. What they were doing is that when the militia, they were told and instructed to rape the young girls there.
Wow.
And it was a plan to cut the Congo society short, because women are obviously, you understand, they are pivotal in the making of every generation in society. You understand? So when you rape the women, some of them are left dead, some of them are left barren, some of them are left traumatized, and they won't even want to, engage in intercourse again.
Yeah.
And the men that are there, also knowing that this woman was raped, also will stay away from the stigma.
Yeah.
So there was a plan. It was planned that systematically they should, when they go into every town, they should rape the young girls there.
I want to ask you a question quick. We know that we have an oppression past. We know that we were colonized before, okay?
Yeah.
But taking Congo to be an example, when the Belgians left,
yes,
okay, and then we're now ruling themselves, okay. First of all, was it the fault of Congo that they went into these wars and military regimes and all those things that led to various instability that happened in the decades that came after?
Yeah.
So was it what you are saying that's one of the main reasons why they are being exploited now, right? Whose fault is it?
Yes.
First, is it the Belgians' fault that they came before and they did all this to us? Or two, is it our fault that after the Belgian had left? Is it their fault that after the Belgian had left, they were not able to take control? They were not able to be peaceful enough to take control of their own country.
Mm-hmm.
Whose fault is it? I just want to know. Do you blame the Belgian for starting something that led to all these things? Or do you blame us or the Africans or the Congolese for allowing, even though the Belgian had left, allowing themselves to be swallowed by tribal wars and political regimes and instability that have caused various nefarious people to come into Congo and then exploit them for their resources that is used by big companies in the world?
I think one of my holdbacks or one of my hesitance to answering this question is the victimization.
Okay.
And the sensitivity of the topic of when we are discussing African progress and how it's been delayed.
Okay.
Sometimes the blame factors are very sensitive. No one wants to accept blame.
Yes.
For an error that has occurred.
Yes.
I understand. It's very difficult to apportion blames, or it's very difficult for people to accept that this thing happened because I'm a part of it. You understand? So going back to let's even build away from that. Going back to slavery in diaspora, Africans being enslaved in the diaspora and now are living in the diaspora, and because of their slavery past, systematic racism has led to them being still oppressed in the diaspora regions like America and the Caribbean and all that. People always want to understand that, especially people that don't understand the issue of systematic racism. They want to understand. So from the onset, whose fault was it that led to the Africans being exploited or enslaved to diaspora, to be exploited, to build countries for them, to build institutions for them?
Those are the Europeans.
And I think those are the Europeans or the West. Yeah. You understand? I think one of the fundamental issues that borders with that is, as I was saying, the sensitivity. To me, it always pleases me that as a human being, I sort of have this way of viewing things or perspective of viewing things that I always want to regard as a benefit for me. I always make sure that in every equation that borders around my life or people around me, I always want to make sure that the solution involves me, and the problem, as much as the solution involves me, the problem also involves me, or the start of the problem involves me.
Okay.
So when I'm speaking to anyone about anything, I don't know whether the people around me notice. I'm on that side of, I understand the problem, how can we solve it?
Okay.
But at the same time, I also know that because I understand it, I also know that I might be part of the problem.
Okay.
You understand? I'm saying all this to say, Derek is giggling and he's seeing that I'm trying to swerve the question. I'm saying all this to say, as Africans, we can never just leave the blame to the West or our exploiters.
Okay.
The exploitee
okay.
also has to know that he has a part to play. Being exploited. I said this in one of the first episode that we are always being taken advantage of. Sometimes because of our inability to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes our ability to like, or our hospitality. That's what I said.
Much. Yeah.
Understand? We weren't there at the time of the time the Europeans invaded Africa. So I can't speak much on why and what happened. But all I can say, or one of the things I can say, is that we are also part of the problem. We cannot take ourselves from the problem. Also, to say this, slavery didn't start in Africa.
No.
So that's one of the misconceptions that people always put out there, that, Africans are the only ones enslaved.
And even
Caucasians, I'm dropping soon.
Yeah.
Caucasians, I know what you're about to say, and I won't say it, I'll let you say it. Caucasians at some point have enslaved themselves. When you look into the history of the Vikings in the Middle Ages, when you look into the Scandinavians, you understand, at a particular point in time in Europe, they were the ones that were ruling because they had the ability to conquer any other army. They were the most powerful army. When you look into civilizations before the civilization we have now, you look into Rome and look into ancient Egypt and all that, they were the dons because they had the ability, they had the most powerful militia at that time. So they were able to conquer every part of the world and take men as slaves. Even Africa, at some point, and that's the history that we don't know, but at some point, we were the slave masters.
Yeah.
Yes, ancient Egypt were the greatest and strongest civilization at the time. It's even known to be the greatest civilization of all time. And at the time, we were the conquerors. We were the ones with the technology to conquer. You understand? And people were coming to learn from us. So, slavery didn't start with Europeans enslaving Africans. It didn't start that way. It's history that is telling us that. But when you look beyond, slavery has always been a phenomenon that has existed.
Well, I understand where you're coming from, and what you're saying, I think, is true. But I also have a problem. My problem is this. Now, yes, it's true. Even before, around the 1200s, 1300s, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, before the Europeans came, 1300s and 1400s. Even in Africa, even in Black Africa, West Africa, East Africa, even this Africa, we had people who were enslaving others. Even during the slave trade, we had people, Africans themselves, who would take their fellow brother and go and sell them to the white man. Okay, so yes, we know that we're not trying to excuse the evils of the West. We're not trying to excuse the evils of of Germany, of Belgium, of England, all those European countries who enslaved Africans. We're not trying to excuse them. But my problem is this, okay? Yes, we were behind, okay? After they left us, after they left Africa, after they gave countries their independence and then they left Africa, we were behind. We know that. Even when they gave us the independence, some of them were still meddling. Some of those countries were still meddling in the affairs of these African countries, even though they had their independence. We know that we are behind. We know that one too. But the question is this: after that time onwards, what happened? The leaders that we chose.
Oh yes.
And this is something that has been on my heart for about 3 years. African leaders, African military leaders, even democratically elected leaders, okay? What have they added to our lives? Apart from enriching themselves. And I also want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Are African leaders, those so-called politicians who have been elected, okay, those in public offices, are they leaders? Do they lead us or they serve us? Because if you look at the thing, we pay them. They are paid by our tax money. You and I, the taxes that we pay, and taxes that we will ever pay, that money is used to pay the politician. And we pay them more than we pay ourselves. We pay them more than we are paid. If you go to a place like in Nigeria, their senators and their governors are paid more than senators in every other country, the whole world. The whole world. Some of them take more than $200,000 a month. I'm not talking about Naira or Ghana cedi. I'm talking about dollars a month. So I'm asking, these so-called leaders, I don't want to disrespect anybody because most of them are older, but are they to lead us, as in to be our heads, or they are supposed to come into offices that all of us can't be, so we choose them to go and come and serve us? That's the question I want to ask. I mean, that's where the problem comes from.
Yeah.
Because after they have left, we could have changed a lot of things. But what happened? All we know is, let's fight this person. Because of this tribe and that tribe, this guy is in this tribe and he's become the president. And he has employed, or he has put most of his tribe brothers, his kinsmen, into high positions to rule over us. We can't allow that. So we have to overthrow them. And then we also come and rule. And then this will happen. Then the military also came in. Say that now what's happened, they don't understand. They also overthrow. So all these political instability, wars, and to me, personally, I think it's one of the biggest problems that has led to the fact that the Europeans and the Chinese and the Asians have come back, and the West, they have come back to exploit us. Especially in Congo. Yeah. Because when there is war, these tech companies still need the Coltan. They still need the cobalt. They still need the minerals. They still need the metals that they will use to make these phones that we when we see, we are going crazy about. Yeah. And so, if they find out that when there is instability, they can get those metals at cheaper prices, then they will stoke the fire. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. They will stoke the fire. They will fund rebels. Yes. They will fund militias, and then when they do that, they will fund warlords. And when they do that, there will be instability, and then they come in. Yeah. Because there's instability. They don't even have food. The economy is so down that when they say that give you this money just for you to mine, you mine. You mine. You don't even think. And now children. When I saw the children, God, I didn't know what to do. I saw videos of children being forced to carry sand, to carry metals on their heads, and you could see their face. They were hungry. Wow. To me, our biggest problem in Africa is not the West. Our biggest problem in Africa is not Europe. Our biggest problem in Africa is us and our leaders. Our leaders, our so-called leaders, who I think we should make it clear to them that they are not leaders, they are servants. How can we are paying you more than we can ever get in our lifetime. Some of you, what the money you get in a year, even some of the richest Ghanaians don't get that money in his lifetime. You get that money in a year or 2 years, and then you still embezzle the small funds you are supposed to use to develop the nation. I don't understand. I think that is where Ghanaians must stand up. That's where Congolese must. This whole Africa, we must stand up to our leaders, those so-called leaders, and let them know that they were put into office
by us
because all of us can't be in office. So we put you in office to serve us. So you are servants. You are there to serve us. You're not there so that we will come and grovel at your feet. Even to talk to an MP is a problem. You can't even get the MP to even talk to the MP. And some MPs, some member of parliament don't go to the parliament house. That's where I think the problem is. Because if we have a good a good and stable economy in Congo, if the Congolese have good and stable economy, okay, and then parents have jobs, parents can do their private businesses and flourish, okay, their children will not be forced to go into those cobalt and coltan mining just for food, just to get some dollars and cents just to eat. And two, when there is stability, when there is good economic system in place in Congo or in these countries, do you know what will happen? The government or the government of those countries will be the ones who decide how those metals are mined. They will decide the prices of those metals. You know, in Ghana, and then in Ivory Coast, the two of us, it's like we produce more than half, about half or more than half of the world's cocoa, and so we are the ones who say that these must be the prices. We decide the prices. We are the ones who say that this now we want to pay them more. We want to pay our farmers more. We want to pay our.
So cocoa prices are decided by us.
Yeah, by those two countries. We are the one of the main deciding factors when it comes to prices in cocoa.
Wow.
In the whole world, though, not in Africa alone. In the whole world. Because when we add the two of us together, we send the world cocoa more than any country.
Wow.
Almost 50% or more than 50%.
Wow.
And so if your country is stable enough, and the mineral or the resource or the metal is in your country, you can decide on what to do. You can decide on the prices. You can decide not to even mine it. Somebody can do you anything. But then what you care about is who is going to the political power. Who's going to be the minister? Who's going to be the head of state? Which tribe is he from? In this age, in this time, we are killing ourselves over tribes. Whilst I don't understand that tribal thing. Charlie, look at where the world is going. We're talking about tribes. And then they'll pass back and then they'll come and exploit us. I mean, to me, it's our own problem. Because we can't do anything about the past, you know that.
Of course.
The past has happened. It's
future.
Yes, they can't come and pay us back. They can't come and give us money. They won't give us money because they came to enslave us. They won't do that.
No.
We know that. No. We know that they won't do that. Even black Americans, they say they won't give them anything. Don't give them any reparations or whatever they call it. And so what about you that you are in your own country? They won't even mind you. So if we can't do anything about the past, we must hold those people we put into public positions responsible. Must hold them responsible for whatever they do. And that's what I think is the best way to go. That's what I think. I don't know about you.
I mean, what you are saying can never be far from the truth. It can never be far from the truth. I think you can't take away the factors of why we are still poor and our development process is slow. You can't take dictatorship out from it.
Yes,
I understand. You can't take years of bad political decisions.
Embezzlement.
You understand?
In Nigeria, a snake can swallow millions of naira. Like a snake. This is a lie. We all know that.
We all know it's a lie.
But they can't. Now look what's happening in Nigeria now. God.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's awareness. You understand? The typical African man on the streets doesn't know what you are talking about.
Okay, that one too.
He knows there's corruption, but he doesn't have the gravity of the situation at heart, because he doesn't have the stats or the facts to prove. You understand? Move by. You understand? They know, there's corruption, there's this, but they don't. I know. Sometimes I listen to people talk, and I'm like, how are we still working on this earth plane, and we don't really care about how we are. We don't really think about how far back we still are. When we look at countries doing amazing things in education, in terms of common hospitals, you go to some common transportation means, common roads. You go to some places in Ghana, they don't even know electricity. You understand? They don't know roads. They don't have potable drinking water. And they still believe in, and the sad thing is they still believe in the idea of politics.
And then they have, the funny thing is that they still vote for that same person every 4 years. Every political voting year, they'll vote for the same people, and they have the funds. But they won't help you, and you still vote for them because of some stupid tribal allegiance, some stupid political allegiance. These people are supposed to serve you. If they don't do what, you can go to their offices and tell them that, hey, this is what is happening. Look at what's happening in Nigeria. They say that NSAS, look at what's happening. Yes. In America, look at what they were able to do because one person died. To me, I don't think how one person can overshadow all of us. If you all rise up against the person. Look at what happened in the University of Kwame Nkrumah University. When all the students rose up to fight against security brutality in the school.
Yes.
Look at what happened. Yes. Everything changed within a week.
Yes.
And nobody could do them anything. They couldn't arrest them because they're going to arrest the whole school.
I mean,
I don't understand what's going on.
Some of these things, they are intrinsically complex. They've been puzzled with complexities. At the same time, or whilst you are looking at it from that perspective, you also look at it from another perspective of, we are all in a place called Africa.
Okay.
But some people are living differently.
Oh, yes.
Because of their allegiance, some of these allegiances and their associations.
That's led to classes.
So, you understand. What is dawning on your heart to think, that's not the way the person is thinking. The person is enjoying
from
what
is happening.
So the person has one way or the other. Exactly. The situation is favoring him or her. So it's like their minds or their judgment has been clouded with some of these allegiances that they've been committed to. You understand? The same Ghana we all live in. Some people are enjoying because they have people in power. They know people in power. Their fathers and their mothers are with the current political party. So because of that, they are enjoying. You understand? So what we are so passionate about, they can't see until something drastic happens.
And that is why I have a problem with online or social media protests. Do you know why?
Yeah. Let's get to it.
Me, I don't want to leave those big companies. I don't want to just let them go. I just want us to talk about that issue.
Yeah.
You go and type free Congo. Congo is bleeding, hashtag, whatever. You know that these metals are the same metals that were used to make the phone that you are using. In fact, maybe then you didn't know. Now you know.
A lot of people didn't know.
Yes, but now they know. Now iPhone 12 has come out. And then you all push and go and buy it. If your father does not buy you the iPhone, you go crazy. But you're the one saying that you're the generation, you do something different. To me, until we are able to hold these people to an account of what they are doing, we hold them responsible for what is happening. Yeah. How can you use a product that comes from exploited people? And then you come and stand there, and then you come and say that when we come to Apple, we are environmentally conscious.
That's not true.
So we use recycled blah blah blah, and because of that, even your chargers will not come with a head or will not come with a brick. All those things.
But the Congo.
So are you trying to tell me that you don't know where you source your thing from?
They know, of course.
And then we don't talk about it enough.
That's why I'm saying that one thing is that some of these things are laced with several complexities. The amount of power and time it would take for whatever phone company we are speaking on, be it Apple, be it Samsung, because it's not just Apple that uses some of these minerals for their production.
Oh yes.
Almost all those electronic companies use it.
Yes.
Understand the amount of energy and time and consciousness or conscience that will take them to decide that they want to give a helping hand in this issue. I think most of them are not willing to give that resources. And some of them too, they don't want to. Exactly, they don't want to sound political, because some of these issues are also built upon, political ideologies like communism. Congo at a time where UN and US had forsaken them, went into communism, went into the Soviet Union to plead for help. So some of them are also tied to communism. So immediately you start associating yourself with some of these countries. You are trying to go into territories that you as a corporate company would not want to go. Again, as I'm saying, I'm not in any way as we've been saying, we are not in any way defending them. But when you think about consumer or consumerism,
yes,
it lays with several choices, several things. People can decide not to use the iPhone. It's the same way, whatever. It's like people that buy when you go into the effects of mining in Ghana or in Africa, and you go into how some of these minerals are gotten at the expense of the lives of people. Would you decide, if you run a jewelry shop, would you decide to shut down? Would your conscience allow you to shut down? At the same time, would reality allow you to shut down your operations because this gold came from some people in Sudan in the pit somewhere, mining, being crashed over by sand and being crashed over under mining potholes? You understand? Would your conscience allow you to say, I won't, what I used to feed my family, I won't do it again?
That's dicey because yes, because if you stop, you might not get money to feed your family.
Exactly.
But then I also think, I know what I'm going to say will be a little controversial, but I also think that then we are not ready
to
stop these things.
One
of the ways we can stop it is to stop buying those things, and or we can tell them to do better because we are not buying those things. Okay. Or two, another thing is that those governments in charge of those countries should put things in order. So that we will not exploit children, or we will not exploit minors just to get those metals or those gold or those
countries the leaders already have been compromised. The Congon president is making several billions of dollars just for allowing some of these people to loot the mining industries. They are making several millions of dollars making such decisions. So those people, they have been compromised already. Like, you shouldn't even consider them as part of the fight.
So that means that
people are at the helm of why the things are now.
So then that means that the consumers it's up to us.
It's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us.
But are you willing? Because I'm not trying to generalize here, but you know that there are some, excuse me to say, women who likes iPhone so much that no matter how they'll go and tweet BLM, Black Lives Matter, they'll go and tweet NSAS, they'll go and tweet Trans Life Matter, whatever. Okay, but then they will never go and tweet about let's boycott iPhone because they know that they use the iPhone. They know that they need the iPhone to do something.
Exactly.
And as people who have stores who sell iPhones.
Exactly.
And so are they also ready? Are you ready to?
Of course.
Are you ready to forgo what you eat just to stop these big companies from exploiting these children or minors?
I think one way of looking that's one way of looking at the solution.
Because even you weren't doing all these things. Because you went doing AU, what are they doing?
That's the fact that you are
Amnesty International, what are they doing?
Exactly. The fact that you're looking at it from that perspective is fine, but that's another way of the solution. The whole thing is the root of the problem. You understand? You know that over 6 million lives have been lost from 1992, ever since the Congo genocide, after the Rwandan genocide, they came into invaded Congo. Over 6 million lives have been lost and still counting till now. That's more than the Holocaust. But then the awareness is not being created. At the same time, you should know that it's not just those tech companies that they are not even close to the problem. They are also part of it. They are not even close to it. The basic right of even people in Congo to express their political freedom is still being hinged upon.
Oh, okay.
You understand? I think at the end of the day, when a country or a community makes it to a point where they can boast of economic dexterity, they can boast of a society, a fundamental society. Some of these systematic rape claims have also led to the breakdown of the common society.
Yes.
Congo. You understand? People are not. Congo is one of the worst places to be living in.
Oh.
You understand? So approaching it from the fact that we can boycott is part of the solution, but it's not even close to where the solution is.
With the people.
With the people in Congo and with what the outside world or the outside neighboring countries, what Rwanda is still doing to them, what Uganda have done to them, and they are still doing them. Because some of these terrorist groups or militia are funded by some of these Rwandan government and Ugandan government because they're also benefiting from the resources. You understand? Congo is seen as just a piece of land for them to just take their resources and go. So anyone that you stand in them way, they'll kill you. You understand? So some of these things are the Apple people, the tech people, they are there. But these issues it predates Apple, it predates iPhone. You understand?
Yes.
These issues have been there even when iPhone came. iPhone, I think they are powerful enough.
They can do something.
Of course, definitely.
Samsung is powerful enough to do something. Huawei is powerful enough to do something.
Definitely. Even a tweet from Apple will mean, or even a speech from Apple will mean a lot in the fight.
Tesla.
You understand? Most of these tech companies.
Look at how famous Elon Musk is. If Elon Musk says that he's going to help facilitate a solution for that thing, he can do it. But they won't do it because that's their livelihood.
I think some of these things, the solutions are also very radical in nature.
That's what I'm saying.
They lead to revolutions and wars.
That's what I'm saying.
So no one really wants to go down that road. Because the current president, the current president there has been ruling. I think he took over from his father. I'm not so sure. I want to just fact check. But basically, they've been practicing monarchy. When the father is done, the son continues. So democracy is a right that is a luxury there. They don't even know democracy. So to get some of these people, one of the starting places to get some of these people out of that their Jubilee house is to get some of them out of their White House.
Yes.
Some of these people must step down. They must be thrown out of the some of these places.
It reminds me of a book I think Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah.
In A Tale of Two Cities, the ruling class were so wicked that the peasants and all those people, Charlie, they revolt, they went against them. There was a revolution, and then Charlie, come and see. They made guillotines. So when they catch you, the people know. When they catch you, the rich man, they were killing the rich. When they cut the rich man, they'll come and put you at the guillotine and then they'll cut off your head. They'll kill you. And it led to a great, like change of what was going on. Exactly. A great change. I think that's all that to happen. The people themselves. But the funny thing is that how can you even get to the people and educate them that this was actually happening? Like you can free yourself through this way. Because if the people are not mobilized enough, they cannot come against them.
Yes.
Because those in power have the military on their side. Unless the military also. So the thing is that how can they be infiltrated and then like boosted or given the morale to start such a revolution?
Yes,
that's a problem.
So the thing Tupac said something. He said if the poor gets hungry enough and they are not being provided with food, they'll eventually eat the rich.
Yes,
understand. So that was one thing that came to my mind.
And then in Fargo, the season 3, there's this character called, I think, GM Varga or something. This guy was speaking. He said that 85% of the of 85% of the world's wealth or riches is being controlled by about 1% of the population. Okay, and so he said that he has a question.
Yes.
What will they do when those people who are those 99% they rise up against the rich? What will they do? And that's one thing I think. I'm not saying that we should eat the rich. That's not what I'm saying. Because I believe that you can't tell me that somebody works hard for his money.
Yes.
And then we should go and take the money. No. I'm just comparing it to what's happening in African countries and how the people can mobilize themselves and then bring down governments, bring down regimes. They can do it. And I think they should try harder. They can do it.
It's possible. You can never write anything off. I think one of the main takeaway from this is, as a people, we have to be aware. We have to also unify ourselves. Some of the setbacks, some of our setbacks has always been the tribalism factor.
Yes.
How amongst ourselves we are so divided.
So divided.
So divided. You understand? And you go into every country, it'll amaze everyone to find out that in every country, the presidential or elections decided, or the politics of every country is decided on the tribalism nature in the country.
Yes.
Most countries, when you go to Nigeria, there's the Igbos and the Yorubas.
Yes.
When you
the north,
you understand, we have the north and the south. We have even in Rwanda the case about the Hutus and the Tutsis.
Even here in Ghana, they've been conversations that because of Kufado's ruling, the Achems are the ones ruling.
Exactly.
Do you understand? The Achems are the ones ruling.
We always find a way to make it tribal.
Now, and they also say that Asantis are more MPP, and then the voter region people, they are more NDC. And we see how even the Togoland people, they say Ghana, Togoland, whatever, they say they want to their own independence, and all these are rooted in tribalism.
Yes.
And if we want to rise above these issues that we're having in our society, you have to rise above the tribalism. Tribalism should be something that will unify us instead of dividing us.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, we are Ghanaians. We understand that before we were Ghanaians, we were Asantis, we were Evers, we were Dagombes, we were Nzimes, we were Fantis. We know that. That's our first place of belonging. Okay?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, we begin by being part of a tribe. But when we are ending, at the end of the day, as we grow up, we realize that at the end of the day, when we talk about the overall country, we are speaking of Ghana. And so I think we see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about Ghana, and we're talking about Africa. Yes. We're talking about the world. And to make it a better place, we must forgo our tribal differences, our political differences, and all those things, our ideological differences, and then move on. We can agree to disagree. And that is all right.
It's a shame to realize that Patrice Lumumba, one of the very first independent thought leaders, always advocated for the unity of Africa.
Wow.
So even when he was elected into power as a prime minister, one of his agendas was to even unify Congo, which was so divided at the time. You understand? So we ought to ensure that wherever we go, as we identify ourselves as Africans, we should not just say with words. You understand? It's fun to be divided sometimes. Oh, I'm this, but we should just stay as a fun thing.
Yes.
You understand? It's just supposed to stay. Oh, we should
and also to be something that people can learn from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we should just it just should be a fun thing. It should never go beyond being fun.
Yeah.
You understand? At the end of the day, we still identify Africans. We are fighting the same fight. Any part of the world you find yourself in, you're identified as African, and that's it. They don't know whether you're Fanti
or
it
doesn't matter.
Exactly. You understand? So
once you go into the international stage, you are your country, not your tribe.
Yeah.